Alright, so I haven't done a video in a while, but I'm going to do a quick little video here on taking, this is an Enfield bolt, but pretty much all Mauser style bolts can be taken off. I'm going to just do a quick removal and reassembly of the extractor. So on these Mauser style bolts, of course, you got the extractor claw, and this is your extractor, which extracts the shell after it's fired, or even if you don't fire it, extracts it out of the chamber. And then right here, this ring, that's the extractor collar, so that's what holds this extractor in place on the bolt. So in order to take these off, they make extractor pliers for these, but I've rarely, if ever, used them because they work well, but they're kind of a pain. So what I do is, if you can see on the bottom of the bolt here, or even on the top of the bolt here, there's a recess there, and that's where the front of that extractor rides in, that recess. So if you go to the bottom of the bolt, that recess ends right below the lug on the right side. So what you can usually do is spin the extractor down, and if it catches, sometimes it'll spin all the way to the bottom, but if it doesn't, you find yourself a piece of wood here. This is maple on my vise. You just pull it down just a little bit. You don't want to pull hard, because sometimes if they're kind of brittle, they can break. So as you're pulling down, you turn it, and then it turns your extractor down to the bottom side of your bolt. So then all you got to do, once that, if you can see it there, once that gets out of the groove, all you got to do is push it with your thumb, or sometimes if they get kind of tough, you can bang them up against the thing here, and there you go, it's taken off. So that's pretty simple. And then to get them back on, sometimes what you have to do is, these collars this one's so old it's just kind of in place there, so it hasn't expanded, but sometimes on newer ones they'll expand a little bit, and I guess even these old ones too. In order to get this back on, if you can see on the back side of the extractor here, there's a little groove that extractor collar fits into. So you need to make sure that these two little prongs here on the extractor collar are squeezed together far enough so that you can slide this back over it. So to get it back on there, we turn the little lips on the extractor collar down to the bottom side of the bolt, and then we take the extractor and just set it back on there and kind of line it back up. And then this one was, like I said, it was already tensed up or compressed, so it slid right back on there. But if it wasn't, one thing you can do is you can take it in a vise like this and just get it enough to where the bolt won't go in there. See, I'm pushing on it, it won't go in. So then you push down right over the extractor collar, and that'll squeeze that, it'll bring that extractor collar up and it'll squeeze it together. So you push on it, and then you open up the vise just a little bit, kind of wiggle it down in there, and then you can clamp your vise down and get your extractor collar, and it'll slide on there. You can also do that with the pliers. If you use the pliers, if you have a piece of leather or something, you can wrap the bolt in leather and then squeeze it with the pliers. That sometimes works, but this usually works really well. Pliers works good too. So once we're at that point, we got it partway on, so we push it down as far as it'll go. So now we're stuck here, this little lip again. We need to lift that back up and back over onto that recess. So what you can do here is, take that guy and we push down just ever so gently. It kind of works. And then you push on the bolt. You kind of rock it on there, and there it slid on. So now we're lined up. All you got to do is turn it back on, and there you go. It's back in place, back where we need it to be, ready to go back in the rifle. So there you go. There's kind of how I do it, taking extractors on and off Mauser style bolts.